Hey guys, welcome back to We Met at Acme. I'm so excited to be here with author of The Red Flags I've Repeatedly Ignored, Brianna McCabe. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for my cookies.
Oh my God, of course.
Listen up, people. If you want to come on this podcast, bring me crumble cookies. They were so insanely good. I am just like on a full sugar high. And that's a good way to start a podcast, I would say.
Listen, I couldn't come empty-handed. I was like, what can I do what's a universal love language? Cookies.
And that's a green flag on your behalf.
Thank you.
And today we are going to be talking about red flags. We're going to be talking about, instead of projecting other people's red flags and saying, you know, this person has this red flag and this person has that red flag, how about we look within? We're going to be talking about our own red flags, and we're going to be talking about your red flags because you guys submitted a whole shit ton of red flags. So, before we get into that, though, I have to ask, what is your favorite romantic gesture?
Ooh, I'm a sucker for just a sweet love note or like a sweet just note on the kitchen counter in the morning, like have a good day, sweetie, or like a post-it on the mirror. Just like little, I was thinking about you when I wrote this. That's for me.
Like classic, like rom-com romance.
That's exactly where I live, yes.
Yeah, I get that because we spoke about this before. I'm a Libra, you're a Libra. We love that unrealistic rom-com.
Over-romanticized,
stuff.
but I think it could happen. So
Totally. Oh, it definitely will. Are you single?
I'm single.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you gotten close to that kind of rom-com love?
Not yet, but I'm still hopeful. You would think I wouldn't be after writing a book, but I'm pretty hopeful.
No, I mean, well, I guess that leads to my next question, which is, let's get into it.
Yes.
What are these red flags of yours? Why don't we do one for one so that it's not just like a tear down of each other?
Where it's like I'm dumping. All right, so personal red flag in me. All right, I'll start off a little light. So a red flag of mine that I'm not proud to admit is I used to snoop through my partner's phones when they weren't around. And I think it was out of insecurity. I think there was a lot of compounding factors that led to it. But I guess strip all of that away and just look at it for what it is. I was invading somebody's privacy and I had no right at all to be doing that. So that in and of itself, if you're looking through somebody's phone, that's a red flag. So not proud of it, but...
So I agree with you, but there's a caveat, which is if you have a reason to look through their phone, I'm not saying you should do it, but like you have a reason. Did you have any reason, or you were just, you know?
I definitely had a reason. I thought they were cheating on me and my suspicions were right, which I'll get into. That'll be another red flag of mine. But I found what I was searching for by doing it. But I think if you're in a situation where you don't feel like you're safe and secure and in a loving, healthy situation, and you have to go to that extreme, and like, let's just paint this picture. I would do it when they were sleeping, right? So I'd be like in the corner and I'd have to operation game myself out and moving away so as to not wake them up. And then
Your heart rate's like...
Yeah. And I'm like, I can only move it this way. I mean, it was like, this was premeditated. Like, how am I going to do this? Did they take a NyQuil tonight? Like, it was sick. It was really sick. But the fact that I had to do that showed that I wasn't in a relationship that I should be in. So while I did find what my gut was telling me I would find, I think just taking everything for what it was, that was a huge red flag that should have said, what are you doing, Brie? But I stayed, you know?
Right. So the red flag is less about the fact that you went through their phones and more about the fact that you stayed in a relationship that wasn't serving you. I guess this is kind of saying my red flag too, but I've done that before.
Yeah.
And I did it. And similar to you, like I shouldn't have been with that person if I had to look through their phone. But at the time, you know, you're so in it, you don't realize that.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was dating someone and we were pretty serious. And we were all out one night for their birthday. And I was not, like, I was sober at the time. So I wasn't drinking, like I just was completely sober. And this person that I was dating had like gone into like a Coke bathroom to like, you know, do Coke and whatever. And they were in the bathroom. Like, I think it was just them and this other person, which was their ex, right? Like,
love that.
And they were literally doing Coke with their ex in the bathroom. And I was like on the dance floor. And I was, which like, as you can
What a scenario that I have in my head right now.
right? Also, like, everyone listening to this is like, how did she let this happen? Like, why did she stay with him another second after that? But for some reason I did. I actually ended up leaving that night and coming home, and he like came home. We weren't living together, but he then came like home because he wanted to, you know, spend the night with me. And I got up like an hour after he came home and passed out, and I went through his phone to see if there was any like evidence of anything happening with that ex that like he went in the bathroom with. And I still to this day think that that something went down, but I couldn't find anything.
You want to know what's sick about it? It's like you go through their text and then sometimes that's not enough. So then you go through their Snapchat and then you go through their Facebook and then their Messenger and then their Instagram.
Oh,
and it's just
I'm
like,
not that good.
Oh, really? Maybe I'm a psycho. But I was like doing a full sweep.
That's
like I was
really
in the FBI.
Funny. That's really funny. You're
okay,
amazing.
I'm projecting.
No, you know what I did do though? I searched the text, like you know how you can search in the text your name or like their name, you know, that's like always that's going to give you what you want.
Absolutely.
But
dang,
that's toxic shit.
That is some toxic shit.
That's toxic shit. Okay. I will say a red flag of mine. I am on my phone way too much.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Now, why do you think that's a red flag though?
Well, I obviously, in my delusional head, I'm like, it's not. It's my job. I am just doing my job. But like realistically, there are times where I am on my phone and I don't need to be on my phone.
It's hard to live in the present for me sometimes too, because I'm glued. What's the first thing you look at in the morning? Is it your text? Is it your email? Is it your notifications for like Instagram?
It's whatever's like on the screen. Because I'm on do not disturb when I sleep, and then I turn it off and everything like pops in and I'm like, oh, I just go to whatever's, you know, if it's like that email I've been waiting for, the email, if it's like a text from a friend, I see the text. Like it's not one specific every day. What about you?
Mine is always my email. I just live and breathe by my email. I feel like all of these important like podcast opportunity or anything, it's just my email. So I like, it's ridiculous actually, but I would agree with you. I'm on my phone way too much and I'm trying. It's hard.
It's really hard.
It's really hard.
I think everyone can relate to the fact that we're all on our phones too much. And I hate like those like wellness girlies who are like, I wake up, I don't touch my phone for an hour. I meditate, I journal about the reasons why it's not good to be on your phone.
I ground myself. I wish.
I make a celery drink and then I drink my celery, but I'm still not on my phone. And then 5 hours later, I look at my phone. It's like, well, that's nice. That's a privilege to not have to look at your phone for so long. Yes. No. And not everyone has that privilege. Like some people are out here hustling. They need to look at their phone for business opportunities. They have a kid who's like in daycare and they need the updates. Like, I feel like, you know what? I'm getting enraged. People who brag about not being on their phone, like that is a privilege.
That is. I aspire to get there. I really do. I want to get to that level of no fucks. I don't care. I'll talk to you when I talk to you, but it's just, I'm in the shits right now. Like I can't do that.
I'm so with you.
Yeah, that's hard.
I'm so with you. All right, what's another one?
All right, so I went about this in like a romantic relational aspect.
Okay.
But I'll think of others along the way, but
being on your phone is romantic relational too.
Yeah, no,
like,
I agree,
and not like giving your partner the attention. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay, no, I would definitely agree.
Yeah,
with
but
that.
Continue. I like this.
Okay, so I go about relationships. I look for a committed monogamous relationship, and so obviously with that caveat, you would think if somebody cheats on you, that's a deal breaker. I have actually I've been cheated on more times than I'd like to admit in the relationships that I've been in. I clearly choose winners, but I've always stayed with them after they've cheated on me, like every single one. And I think, again, if you look at it for what it is, take the context out of the picture, they're allowing these other influences, they're breaking your trust. That whole foundation that you thought you built is in shambles. And then here I am believing what they're saying to me. And then I'm here staying in this relationship and then the relationship just never grows. It never grows. And for me, I think at that time, I didn't have deal breakers and I didn't have boundaries. So I viewed myself as less than. I mean, we could go down this whole rabbit hole, but I didn't love myself enough to say this person clearly doesn't respect me and doesn't respect that this is, what we were going to be in. And then they totally disrupted that and I stayed. So I would say that's a huge red flag on my end for not sticking to my grounds and sticking to my guns and saying, if you disobey this, like, we're done. And that was a tough cookie to, a pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's really self-aware. So you think that if that happened to you again, you're not staying?
Yeah, I'm done. And I think too, there's different influences and motivations for what maybe propels somebody to cheat. Like, I think there are some people who are just like habitual cheaters. I don't know how big of a population, but I think they exist. But I think there's other people who cheat maybe because like they escalate, that they think there's no intimacy, and then that partner isn't, following up on their needs, or maybe they're so preoccupied with work that they feel like they're not being heard and their feelings don't matter, and maybe somebody else is giving them that attention. But that wasn't the case, and I think I was with habitual cheaters. But I just think if you're in a relationship with someone and you feel the need to cheat, I just think break it off. Like, you just need to break it off. And then here I am staying with somebody who went around and snuck around and did all of this devious shit to me, and I stayed with them, which showed just how low I viewed myself.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
I think that my next one is that in a relationship, I am way too critical of my partner. I
thought you were going to say yourself.
No.
Oh, okay.
It probably stems from being critical of myself. Like, it's a projection almost. But I am very critical. I have a lot of Virgo in my chart. I don't know how into astrology you are. So I'm
like things your way.
Like, I'm like a pseudo Libra, but I'm really a Virgo. And the way that I show my love is by like being critical and criticizing. And it's not a good habit. And so I like can't not bring something up if it's bothering me. And it's like a non-thing that I will bring up sometimes. Like, I'm just like, it's like I literally cannot stop myself from like saying a criticism sometimes. And I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, is it necessary? Is this actually gonna help my partner? Or am I just being a fucking bitch? And so that's definitely a red flag of mine.
And does your partner, not to put him on the spot or anything, does he feel some type of way when he's on the receiving end of this and he's like, whoa?
He is.
Or is he like super chill?
Literally like an angel from heaven. I don't understand him sometimes. He has never once been like, you're critical. Like, he just is like, oh, okay, like, you think that. Or he'll like be like, okay, you said that, like, like, he'll make it into like a joking thing, but he doesn't give me the reaction that would be bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's okay, but that doesn't mean that I should continue.
Yeah.
Well,
at least you're aware of it, so work on it. All right, another one. So I used to very much get super jealous easily. And I'm still working on it. But so for instance, like I am insecure. I was a lot worse. But so if I'd be on a date with someone and I'd see them look at this, I mean, like, say there's a super hot waitress that just walks by, right? And I'm looking, right? So how can I expect my partner to not look?
Yeah.
But then I would see him like do a quick glance and then look back, and I would just be like, so you want to bang her? Like, I would get so in my head, and he was like, what? Like, but I would voice it too. So I definitely let my insecurities consume me so much that this jealousy would just project and would cause so many unnecessary fights. So I've had to do a lot of soul searching, a lot of healing, a lot of therapy sessions to definitely get to a place where I don't act on those jealous impulses anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all a little bit jealous, but it's like if we act on it or not.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm in the situation that you just described, like I'm sitting with, a guy that I'm dating or even my husband, and he like checks someone out. And you said yourself, you're like, I'm checking them out too. Yeah. Like, I kind of have to reel that part in and be like, oh, like, she's so hot, right? Like, almost get ahead of it.
Yes.
And then he's like, yeah. Like, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, it's over.
Elephant in the room addressed, we're good.
Right. Instead of like him thinking it and being like, oh my God, I better not say anything. I'm like, don't worry, I'll say it.
Yeah. And it's just, there's so many good looking people out there. And like, it's okay to look. It's just, it becomes a problem when they actually act on it or they say something incredibly disrespectful. But that didn't even happen yet. So I was just like, oh, you want to bang her? Like, what, Brie? Like,
right.
what?
Right. And that like sometimes almost leads them to be like, I don't know, do I want to bang her?
Yes.
Like I wasn't even thinking
It's like I opened the door, creaked.
Yeah, but now maybe I should bang her.
Yeah.
That's really funny. I have a really hard time admitting that I fucked up.
Oh my God, you stole mine.
Because I'm like, I have all this Virgo on my chart. I'm such like a perfectionist. I don't want to say rarely fuck up, but like I don't fuck up a lot. So when I do,
I love you.
So when I do, I'm like, you didn't see that. Like that didn't happen. You know, I'm so like mortified by it that I refuse to admit it. There's like this, you know, this situation that my husband and I were in that I've definitely spoken about on this podcast before, but we were going to a friend of his wedding in Aspen, which is like very expensive. And like, you know, we got invited and they had like a room block at a hotel, but it was still pretty expensive. And it was over Labor Day weekend. So again, like even more expensive.
Yeah, just tack it on.
And I don't know why, but I was like, I'll handle the booking. I feel like looking back, and this is just, again, me justifying my mistake, he should have done the fucking booking. Like, it's your friend's wedding. But I was like, I'll handle it, whatever. So I called the hotel. I, you know, said, hi, so-and-so room block for the wedding, whatever. So we were going from like Thursday to Sunday. And we get there on... I'm like messing up the dates, but like you'll get the gist. Like let's say we get there on Thursday and we're checking in and the reception's like, oh, like, you know, so good to see you guys. Like we noticed you didn't check in yesterday. And I was like, oh yeah, like we just got here today. Like the room block starts today. And they're like, no, it actually started yesterday. Like you called and you booked the room for yesterday as well. And I was like, what? Meaning like, we were charged for
an extra
night. And this was very expensive. And I was like, oh, no. Like we weren't here yesterday. Like disregard. And they're like, we can't disregard.
Do that. Yeah.
It's Labor Day weekend. We're like the most popular hotel in Aspen. Like we would have sold that room. Like that's on you. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And we were both so upset. But I was like so upset that because it affected me too, obviously, that I was like, I'm not going to apologize because I'm so upset too. And it became like this crazy fight. We like went on a hike. We're like fighting on this hike.
Listen, that's a good way to get it out.
Totally. And then like at the end of the hike, he's like, I just wish you would just be like, I fucked up. I'm sorry.
It's hard. My ego gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate criticism. I don't take criticism well. Mm-hmm. It's definitely something I need to work on myself. Damn, you stole mine.
You can take that too. We can align on that.
All right, this is another one. Not proud to admit it, but so despite me saying that I want to be in a monogamous, committed relationship, at one point I allowed myself to be the other woman infiltrating someone's relationship. There was actually... I was interviewed in Business Insider, and it just came out, I want to say this week, but it just explores one of the chapters in my book, The Guy with the Girlfriend. And to caveat and preface this, like at first he didn't disclose that he had a girlfriend. So I was starting to catch feelings for this guy. And then 2 to 3 weeks in, then it was revealed. And again, at that point, that's a deal breaker, right? You're in a relationship, despite you painting this picture that, you know, it's on the rocks and I love her, but not like that, but I don't want to hurt her. And you're everything I've ever looked for. Like I was just eating it up. And I was like, oh, he's definitely going to leave this girl for her. Like for me, like, you know.
How old were you, I have to ask?
I was 24 at the time.
Okay.
So I'm 30 now. So, I mean, I was young, but like I should have known better. But I stayed in it for about 8 months until I finally realized I will never be the main. Like I will be the other. And it was just the pockets of time got smaller and smaller. And I felt like he was sneaking to talk to me. And at first it was just dates. And then it ultimately turned sexual. And I think once it turned sexual, that's when like all hell broke loose, and he started to feel guilty. He would start ghosting me, and it was just this very weird situation to be in. And towards the end, I actually felt really bad for the woman that he was with. Which a lot of my friends thought I was crazy because they were like, oh no, she's the crazy one. I'm like, I don't even know if she knows. Like, I feel as if she's the victim here. And anyway, so I say all this to say, I allowed myself to be the other woman, and I'm not proud of it, but it was something I did when I was really low, and I felt like he was choosing me. And I don't know why I allowed myself to get wrapped up in that for as long as I did. So something I'll never do again. And again, being somebody who was cheated on in the past, I can't believe that I partook in a game where someone else was getting cheated on. And it's something that still bothers me to this day. But yeah, so that was a huge red flag of mine.
Did you ultimately tell her?
No. That's a good question. So I battled it for a while because I felt like I needed to relieve my guilty conscience, which I sort of did with the book, but I viewed it as this is my story to tell and I can come clean on my ends, but I feel like he owed her, like I didn't owe her. And some people may come back with that, and I understand. But I felt like he was the one, she trusted him with her heart and like her soul and all of that. And I felt like he should have did the cleaning, you know, coming clean.
Right.
But it's something that I did want to do. But my friends were like, and I was like,
yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I was the other girl in two situations.
Really?
One was in college, but I knew I was the other girl.
From the jump?
From the jump, because he was like a massive cheater and like disrespected this girl a million times. And like, if it wasn't me, it would have been someone else. And I was like a college idiot, so I didn't care, you know.
College.
Not saying that that's okay, obviously, you know, but
Yeah.
he was cheating on her with everyone at our school. And the second time I didn't know. And we had like a meet cute at a really like romantic place, just like happened to like meet each other. And he was like insanely perfect on paper, like next level, every great quality, and even an accent. And
swoon.
And I like almost want to say like the other qualities because it's insane. Like, you're not gonna believe me. He was 6'5", Australian.
Are you kidding?
An Olympian.
What?
Worked at Google. Insanely successful. Like, sweet, great family. Like,
how long were you entangled? Using Jada Pinkett Smith's term. The entanglements.
So we like, you know, we had the meet cute. And then from the jump, I was like, this is too good to be true, which is a scary like space to be in, because that's kind of, I felt the only other time I felt that was then, you know, years later with my husband. So I was like terrified of my husband.
That is scary.
Scary.
Yeah.
And the signs started probably on our like second date. The background of his phone was a girl. And I was like, wait, who is that? And he was like, oh, that's my friend.
What?
I
Okay.
believed him. And then I started to not believe him, because that was when Instagram had like a feed when it showed you
when it showed who you liked. And
yes.
Oh, what a time to be alive.
And he had liked a picture of him and her at like a gala. And everyone commented like, best couple, so cute. And I was like, okay, obviously this is not your friend.
Did you bring it up to him?
I confronted him immediately. At this point, we're only like 3 dates in. I confronted him immediately, and he was like, oh, like it's not serious. She's like a loser, like wannabe Instagram model.
They always do that.
And I'm like, and also like if someone speaks about someone else like that, like that's a huge red flag, obviously. But I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know, maybe he's telling the truth. And then I even gave it like 2 more dates. And then I told her.
You told her?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys get sexual?
We did before I knew.
Wow.
Before I like confirmed.
Oh my God, what did she say?
She was so grateful. She was like gonna get engaged to him. Mm-hmm. She was so grateful.
Can you know, not to like put this happened again when I was 24.
Yeah.
And then I stopped. I just had to cut him off because like we had this.
Wait, but you were 24, you said.
Yeah, I was 24.
Yeah,
but I'm
it
30.
happened.
When I was 24.
No, it happened twice when you were 24?
No.
Oh,
the
you're
guy,
saying,
I'm going
okay.
back.
Yeah.
So 6 years have passed.
Right.
But I actually just saw, out of
They're
curiosity.
still together?
They got married.
Shut the fuck up.
I swear to God. And I was just
Brianna,
like,
oh my God.
and he used to tell me, he was like, I'm not a cheater. I don't do this. And I was like, maybe he's right, you know? And it was weird the way it was just weird. He was also a coworker, which I would say, a different department, but coworker. I mean, there was just a lot.
God, I'm sick to my
I saw the pictures.
I'm sick.
When I tell you my heart dropped, like not for me, but for her. But I don't know if she knows. But I'm like, is that my right to say? It's too far gone now. Like that was 6 years ago. What would you do? Like, I always thought about that. What would I do if I was dating someone for a long period of time and I found out I don't know how long they were dating, but like the first year they cheated on you?
Deal breaker for me.
That's a deal breaker for me too. But my God.
Even like, if my husband like was continuing to, talk to someone like after we became official, like anytime after official is like, no, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
I would say.
Damn.
Crazy.
Ugh. Okay. So, your turn. I keep playing footsies with you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we are playing footsie. It's okay. It's cute. It's nice. What's another red flag of mine? I'm like, can we turn it over yet to other people's red flags?
If you want to, let's do it.
No,
just, like,
honestly,
burning each other.
I'm just I guess I can feel like my way is the right way a lot.
Hashtag Libra, no.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. Like even now with being a new mom, it's so easy to fall into the way I feed my kid is the right way to feed my kid. Like it's like everything, or the way like I do this is the right way to do this. And that's not true.
Yeah.
Everyone raises their child differently. Everyone's child is different. And that's definitely a red flag of mine for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to do one more?
Yeah, give me one more.
Ooh, all right. So this is going to be, let's take me back to college years. I used to rely heavily on liquor as a catalyst for me to feel comfortable enough to hook up with a guy, which I guess some could knock it to that's the culture of living on campus, whatever. But I'm taking it a step further. Like I was borderline, like when I lost my virginity, I was borderline blackout drunk. And then like subsequently, I lost my virginity in college. And then subsequently, all of the guys I hooked up with, like I had to be a little buzz going on. And it was because I didn't feel, again, it boils down to me not being comfortable enough in my own skin. Also, I knew the people that I was interacting with, like they weren't of the best caliber, but it was almost like easy. So I used the liquor to like dilute my judgment, which red flag, like, hello, your judgment's telling you shouldn't be doing this, but you're like, shut up, gulp. Like, so that was a huge red flag. And I realized once I hit my mid-20s, there was like 5 years where I was just like, every single guy that I went on a date with, or I, even just kissed or whatever, alcohol was always the catalyst. And I actually started dating like the past few years completely sober, and introducing liquor later, or, a cocktail here and there, but not like pounding back the drinks and taking shots on a date. So I could knock it to being immature, young, I don't know, but for me, it just came from a place of not feeling secure in myself enough to be my authentic self on a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real. And that's a dating rule that I have is no more than 2 drinks on a first date for that exact reason, because it really does like cloud your judgment.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, let's get into everyone else's red flags. This is the longest list I've ever seen. So I'm just going to try to do like the ones that came up a lot as like repeats. This is similar to one of the red flags that I said. This person said, thinking I'm always right in every situation. Do you think that's a red flag, or sometimes it's just like standard personality trait?
I think I would need some context, but I think it would be irrational and immature to think that other perspectives aren't right or that you can't
Right.
open your mind. So I would say that errs on the side of being a red flag.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think the open-mindedness is really crucial. You
Yeah.
got to have a little bit of that.
And sometimes two things can be right at once. So it's just a
Mhm.
matter of understanding you, understanding me. How do we come to a consensus? So yeah, I would say that's a red flag.
This one, I feel like you're going to find funny.
I love
'cause
it.
I can kind of relate, but not really. They said, I pick fights when we haven't fought in a while.
Why?
I don't know. I guess, honestly, I would say then maybe not the relationship for you, but,
Yeah.
or maybe they're just an Aries. Aries love to fight.
I love the zodiac conclusions. I mean, don't get me wrong, makeup sex is really hot sometimes, but I feel like that was a younger, like late teen, early 20 thing for me to be doing. Now I want peace. I want stability. I think arguments are, you shouldn't agree on everything. You need that healthy dynamic and dichotomy, but to want to pick a fight, like, yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I don't think you're with the person you're supposed to be with.
Yeah. This one I think is actually really interesting because I have some thoughts on this and I think you will too. This person said, this is a woman who said this. I think strippers at bachelor parties are icky, but strippers at bachelorettes are funny. What do you think about that?
Ooh. Okay. Here's the thing. I appreciate strippers, and I do also like going to as a bachelorette, going on these parties. I love going to strip clubs. I think it's fine to go. Again, it's that thing of there are other beautiful women out there, but I think once you cross the line of just watching and they're actually touching you and you're touching them and smacking ass, like that's when I have a problem because I just think it's disrespectful. But can you control that? That's a gray area. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest.
I think that's not a red flag at all for her to admit that. I think that completely makes sense because strippers at and I don't, are you even allowed to say strippers anymore? Sex workers?
Oh,
They're
really?
not sex workers. They're just dancers.
Exotic dancers.
Yeah, exotic dancers at a bachelor party. The things that these men are thinking are disgusting and disturbing. And the things that they want to do to the stripper, whether the stripper will allow this or not, are wrong.
And I have guy friends who have, like best friends, who have admitted foul things that they've done or their friends have done. And I'm like, oh, you guys go for two different things, man.
Totally.
Yeah.
When we as women have a male stripper, dancer, exotic dancer, whatever, at a bachelorette party, it is for pure hilarity.
Yeah.
We are laughing. Like no one.
Of course
wants
we're like
to,
looking.
Yeah, we're looking, but no one actually wants to fuck the guy in like a
they're gay half of the time too.
Totally.
Yeah.
What's it called? Like a tighty whitey,
Yeah.
like a Speedo. No one's like, ooh, that guy in that Speedo who's like slamming it into my friend's face, like with oil all over his body. Like that's the man for me. You know, no one's thinking that. But on a bachelor party, everyone's thinking like, oh my God.
It's your last chance of freedom and singleness.
And not even that, just like I'm with a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
And look at this hot, the naked chick. Like I want her. Because that's just how men think. Like I'm not saying that they're acting on it, but the thoughts that they're having are definitely different than
I mean, I applaud this person's transparency.
Right. Like I don't think
I think that's a universal feeling.
Yeah, I don't think
it's a red flag.
Oh, this person is a red flag. She said she's rude to waiters.
Ugh.
Not okay.
Red flag.
Girl.
Why? Why are you rude to waiters?
Girl, why are you just accepting your rudeness?
What is causing this? What is propelling this?
I need to DM her and we need to talk about this because it is not okay. We have to stop people like this.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Mm-mm.
Why? I just need to understand the rationale behind that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
They're just doing a job.
This person, this is definitely another red flag. And then we'll say one that I don't think is. She said she's still in touch with many of her ex-flings. What do you think?
Ooh, this is a gray area for me. So I personally didn't like the thought of somebody being close with their exes or like former fuck buddies. I'm just like, why is that energy still there? But I do think now that I'm a little older, you know, we're adults. As long as it's a healthy relationship, they're not overstepping boundaries, I don't mind it. So I think I would just need context. Like, and what are you doing to make me feel safe that it's faded? Do it, but I'll be honest, I don't prefer it.
Yeah.
Nor do I really like it, but I understand.
I think if you're single, like, and you want to be in touch with your ex flings because, like, maybe you want to sleep with them again.
Well, what is flings? Like, how would you describe? Would you say like just hookups?
People you've hooked up with, I think. I think it's fine if you're single, but once you meet the person that you want to seriously be with, like, you got to say goodbye to those relationships.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This person, I don't think this is really a red flag. I mean, she says she wears her heart on her sleeve. It's a way of being. It's a red flag if you're trying to follow the dating rules, but it's who you are.
I don't think that's, just be cautious as to who you give it out to. I guess would be my only warning, but don't change who you are. I'm the same way. I feel like I pour all of me out there, and if somebody wants to damage it, that's on me, but you just have to be selective as to who you let in. Yeah. I think that's fine.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Ew.
This person said, I don't like to bring whoever I'm dating to work/friend events. I like to be seen as a free agent.
Why? Okay. But again, I think I need to know more. Like, are you just going on 1 or 2 dates? Are you dating for several months? Are you guys exclusive? Because if you're exclusive, that's an issue. Why are you trying to put on a perception that you're single?
Right.
But if you're just like casually dating this person, you don't really know if it's going to transform. I don't know if you need to bring them around. But I would say sometimes your friends can see things in people that you can't see yourself. So I would actually beg you to think, why not bring them around your friends? Because maybe they'll say, oh, this person's actually really good for you, or on the inverse, really bad.
Maybe you don't want to hear if they're good for you or if they're bad for you, really.
That's interesting. These are interesting.
These are really
I like
interesting.
these.
These are really interesting. A lot of people said temper. I mean, listen, like, the best thing you can do for having a temper is be aware of it.
Yeah.
It's not good, obviously.
Yeah.
But let's see. It's so funny. So many people who wrote in thought that this was writing other people's red flags. So I'm like sifting through the people who were talking about guys.
Yeah.
Okay. This one, there's like some silly ones too. Phone is always on do not disturb.
For the most part, mine is too, but I have that favorite setting where if somebody needs to get in contact with me, I don't think that's, I need to be more not present on my phone, you know? So
yeah,
I don't think it's a red flag.
I agree. I think do not disturb
it's the vibe.
It's a beautiful tool.
Yeah, it is.
It's like our wellness.
Yeah. It is. It's my grounding.
This person says, I don't stick up for you in front of my mom.
Interesting. Okay.
This kind of sounds like they're like throwing you to like the wolves, or like, is that a phrase? You know what I'm talking about?
Random question. I don't know how to really answer that one because I feel like I would need like what is the mom saying? But do you think it's a red flag if your parents don't like your partner, and then I'll go to the other one?
Yeah, I do.
I do too. And then what about if their parents don't like you? Is that a red flag?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Huge red flag.
Yeah.
On both accounts. But it's even worse if their parents don't like you, because why do you want to be in a family like that? Like, why do you want to be in a family that doesn't want you to be part of it?
I agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, if my mom was saying something about my partner and I just like let him have it, I don't know.
Like if your mom was bitching your partner out and you were just like, yeah, what she said.
Yeah. But I would also be like, Mom, there's a time and a place. If you have something to say, you could say it to me. But
this person said I have too much empathy.
I think you can feel too deeply for others.
Yeah, this could be dangerous because you could be like, oh no, like I have to give him $100,000.
Yeah, yes.
Because he's, really sad. And then like you have no money left.
Yes, or you can continually rationalize. Yeah, you can rationalize somebody doing you dirty or, you have to strike a balance and also put yourself first because, you're going to deplete yourself with too much empathy.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing to have, but in moderation.
I agree.
That's a good one.
I agree. Okay, the last one is just like, I'm really moody. This came up a lot.
Really? It came up a lot. I'm really moody.
I think that I'll say this right now. That is not our fault as women.
Yeah.
If we are moody, it is a hormonal situation. And if you are a man who wants a woman with feminine energy, you got to ride the waves of the moodiness.
Yes, you do.
And if you cannot do that, then you don't want to be with a woman.
I could not agree with you more.
Which is fine.
Yeah. I can get moody, especially during that time of the month or leading up to it. So yeah, but I also need to do a better job of checking it. Like now I realize it though. Like I'll get super emotional at work or I'll just get super just like, why is my friend not answering me? What did I do sometimes? But then I'll be like, oh, I'm getting my period. So I got to just check it a little bit. But yeah.
I would say moodiness goes hand in hand with sensitivity. And men really appreciate a sensitive woman for the most part. If you want a sensitive woman, you need to deal with a moody woman.
I agree with you.
It is what it is. I agree with
you. Those were good.
Those were so fun. There were so much more. But honestly, those were like the discussion point ones, I would say.
Yeah, when you were scrolling through it, I was like, oh my God,
I think I like broke my nail scrolling. That was really intense. This was so much fun, Brianna.
I had so much fun.
Can you leave us with a quote or piece of advice, maybe something from the book or just something that you've like enjoyed hearing in your life?
Yeah. So two things, I guess. So the one I'll pass on from my Mima, which I loved. So for so long, I felt like I found value by being chosen, right? And I would try to fit myself in these situations that I should have never been in because I was like fitting a square peg in a round hole. But she always used to tell me, you have the power. You have the power to choose too. Like you're not just like waiting there in a queue of men to just pick and choose you and play with you at their leisure. Like you have the power and just as much right to say who you want to allow or deny into your life. So I want to reinforce that to anybody out there who thinks that, you're putting the power in these men's hands or these other partners' hands. Reclaim that yourself. But another thing I realized was I struggled a lot with self-love, which may sound cliche, but it really severely impacted all of my romantic relationships throughout my 20s. And there's a quote in the book that says, like, after all of this soul searching, I realized that in order to find myself and the romantic embrace of a lover, I first have to find it within myself first. Like I have to learn how to embrace myself first, which is so crucial. Because without that, you're just not going to know. If you can't treat yourself with kindness and compassion and love, how are others going to know? You're not setting the example. So I think that's one thing I'd like the listeners to know.
I love that.
Thanks, girl.
Where can everyone find you, follow you, and read your book?
So you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, at the Brianna McCabe. And the book, The Red Flags I've Repeatedly Ignored, it's on Amazon. It's on my website. It's on Barnes & Noble, Walmart. So yeah, where most big books are sold. I'm really excited.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.